Okay, so have everybody on board. I don't see Jennifer. She's on there. Yes. Okay. All right. We're going to call the meeting to order, and let me bring up the flag for the. Okay. Can anybody see the flag?
Yep.
I don't know why it doesn't show on mine. There it is. Okay. We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance
to
to
the
the flag
of
of
the
the United States
of
of
America
America
and
to the republic
for which
which
it
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and
justice
justice for all.
for all. Hey, we could almost, we're getting better. And this is the last one.
You just have to figure out who to watch.
Right. So, okay, roll call, Tammy.
All right, Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Hamill is here in Highland.
Clerk Flowers is here in Highland, Mrs. Frederick,
Here in Highland.
Mrs. Cooper,
Mrs. Cooper's here in Highland.
Mr. Howe. Oh, we don't have Brian, do we?
Oh, he's got a basketball game. I bet he's in a snowstorm right now.
Okay, Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis is here in Highland.
Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, Highland.
All right. Well, we'll watch for Brian to see if he comes late.
All right. So the next item, I don't have any additions to the agenda. So if we can get a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda, Salvia.
Support.
Go ahead, Judy.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
All right, Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamill, yes.
All right, motion approved.
Okay, next item is consent agenda, and I know Jennifer had a question on it earlier today, so you want to bring that up?
Yep, so the November 8th minutes, under the CDBG, funds for transportation, Mr. Hamel was supposed to abstain, and it says that he actually voted yes.
Okay, we'll correct that.
I actually abstained.
Yep,
Okay, that was it.
All right, so
okay.
somebody want to make a motion to approve with corrections?
So approve the consent agenda with corrections to the November 8th Board of Trustees meeting minutes.
Support, Salvia.
So that was Jenny and Joe.
Yes.
All right, vote please.
All right, Mrs. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes, Mr. Salvia,
Can't hear you.
well, how do you vote, sir?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamill, yes.
and Mrs. Cooper. Sorry, I'm out of order. Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
okay. Motion carries.
All right, so we'll move on to announcements. Township offices will be closed December 24th and Monday, December 27th for Christmas holiday, and Friday, December 31st, and Monday, January 3rd for a New Year's holiday. Next Monday, December 13th is a tree lighting here at Veterans Park. And, anybody has anything else they'd like to add to the announcements? All right, number 7, public comment. Do we have any public comment out there? Okay, no public comment at this time. So we'll move on to the presentation. This is the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, has to do a mandatory informational meeting, and let me see if I can get you up here.
Okay. So
This-
while he's doing that, I'm Missy Melissa Dasovich, the Executive Director of the Highland DDA. And every year we are excited to share all the good things that we do, and we're very proud of it. You can go to the next slide. Okay, this was part of the PA 57 law, TIF law. And the reason for this is to inform the public of the goals and the direction of the authority, including projects to be undertaken in the coming year. This meeting is not for the purpose of voting of policy, budget, or other operational matters. Information meetings may be held in conjunction with the other public meetings of the authority or municipality, which is what we're doing this evening, holding it part of the regular board meeting. Our mission statement, I won't read word for word, but our board is comprised of the residents that live in the DDA district, business owners, property owners, community leaders. And we are dedicated to the historic preservation and the promotion of the economic growth in the Highland Station and the surrounding businesses. And right here would be a good place for me to mention that a strong downtown supports all of the surrounding communities, all of Highland and so forth. We advocate for improvements and we seek volunteers, implement our plans for those improvements. And we work with community and regional partners. You can go to the next slide. Our vision is Highland Station. I realize we don't have the infrastructure of a typical downtown, such as what you see in Milford. However, we have something more charming. We like to call it a hamlet. And in this hamlet, we have attractive historical homes. Over time, we'd like to see them renovated, improved. Vibrant small business. We like healthy lifestyles, amenities for all people of all ages. And Highland Station is the historical downtown of Highland. We'd like to return it to the center of the community, a destination, become the center of the destination where the arts and can be enjoyed, and that's such as music, such as a meeting place for people to gather. I'm sure you've seen our outside art, some of our structures we had up, sculptures we've had up from time to time. We have a appreciation here in Highland of our natural environment. And we like to think of it as a sanctuary away from the intense automobile-driven development along the 59 corridor. Okay, you can change it. Or next slide. Goals. Okay, our goals of the Highland DDA. It's an economic generator. So we'd like to bring workshops designed for our businesses, tailored for our businesses, continue to educate businesses of what is available to them, such as training and grants. And we like to bring retail events to bring people down here. One thing, Roscoe Smith, we always hear him say, he'd like to create a there to establish a place. And that's very important. And improve the awareness of downtowns. We do that with events and festivals. Again, I'm going to say create that sense of community, sense of belonging. A gateway. You want to arrive and know you have arrived. Okay, improve the appearance of the downtown. I'm sure you've seen the changes over the years. We want to continue those improvements along the streetscape. We'd like to do some wayfinding signage. A gateway would also fit here, which I've spoke of. We also, I'm
Let me-
sorry.
interrupt, I want to just toss something in there.
Yeah,
Hopefully, many of you have noticed that there's some major trees that have disappeared from the
sure.
station park. And the whole idea is that those trees were nice when they were small, but what they've done, and a lot of them were put in to block off the old Napa Auto Parts. So you didn't have to look at the Quonset hut building that was there, and kind of, it made it sort of disappear. Well, it also made the train station disappear as they grew and got larger. So what the idea is to open that up so that it does become a gateway again, so people can see it much more clearly. So we had to do some corrective surgery on some of the trees that were actually dying as well. So that's why it's opened up now. It's a lot more exposed, and it's a beautiful structure that we need to really keep aware. Okay.
Well, since you're there, I'll also mention those trees were causing some damage too to that structure. And that is part of the plan of next year, is to do some maintenance to that building, some painting and such. Okay, so another thing we do, or we would like to, we do and we plan to continue, is to be involved with our township government and other community organizations. So show at the mill, the playground at the library, community roundtable, that is actually the leaders of the township of all aspects come together and discuss things. Highland White Lake Business Association, Highland Township Public Library, the Huron Valley Schools, Huron Valley Unity Project, and we also can't forget our Huron Valley Council for the Arts. Goals, another important goal is to have a strong volunteer base. We're totally volunteer based. Recruitment, we want to recruit more. We want to involve the younger population, train those volunteers, improve if they wish to be improved. There's training for them as well. And we want to show our appreciation to them. This was actually set up for 2020. And what you see here, this happened in 2019. So we lost a year with 2020. 2021 was playing catch up. But the DDA hosts a community volunteer open house where all of our community organizations are invited, such as the Huron Valley Coalition, Huron Valley Chamber, and so on. And we're going to be hosting another one March 23rd of 2022. Next slide. And feel free to add anything you'd like, Rick. While we're on volunteers, again, they're a strong base to the Highland DDA. And this is a group of volunteers. I'm sure you'll see some familiar faces, where the median at the viaduct at the railroad, there was a lovely lady. What was her name, Rick? That used to, Marie Hewitt. And she used to keep it very well landscaped, and she passed on, and the volunteers dug out all of the growth that was getting a little crazy. We dug it out and we planted bulbs, and the DDA donated those bulbs to this project. So in the spring, keep your eyes open for those beautiful daffodils. Okay, as we're going in, improvements and design. So design is one of our committees to the DDA, and it's also consists of volunteers. Landscaping and the enhancement and maintenance continues. We did over 1,500 bulbs in the late fall of 2021, and we've got some volunteers off to the right there. Okay, our gardens. We had a plan of having native gardens all throughout our downtown because of the nature aspect of Highland and the great state land that we have. And we found that they grew very, very well, to the point where some gardens were looking a little bit unkept and became a site disturbance. So we have redesigned our gardens. We do have native, which you see here, and we have native groups throughout our downtown, but we have created a more formalized palette to have consistent color and bloom throughout the blooming season. Okay, this is another project for improving the look of our downtown. And again, it's those volunteers that make it happen. We did an Adopt a Garden program. This not only made our downtown beautiful, but it gave the opportunity for families to have a sense of pride and ownership. And it's a placemaking tool where people want to come and enjoy our gardens. And we have even got calls from other downtowns asking for advice on how to set this up because they like our gardens so much. Okay, banner program. So we are still doing the banner program. You will see off to the right, we have our military banners. Families would sponsor those banners, and in the end, they would get to keep the banner. To the left there is our Live Highland, Shop Highland campaign. And you're going to be the first to see our new winner. If you want to flip down, these are going to be our new winter banners. So it's not the best picture there.
Snowstorms, see, so snowstorm.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I've been through enough of that today, Rick. So we particularly like this banner because it reflects the importance of the preservation in the area. You know, our preservation in Highland is very important, our old buildings, but it also supports our local businesses with our Live Highland, Shop Highland. So I hope you enjoy it when they go up in the very near future. This is another streetscape project. And this was done partly by a grant by Flagstar in Main Street, Oakland County. And what this is there'll be various locations, and I'm sure you guys recognize that building. That's the Needham building where Mech Realty is right now. And that's what it looked like back in the day. And there'll be these plaques on street poles. Is that right, Rick? I believe it was street poles. And these plaques will tell you what it was, what it looked like during the day, and the history. Again, just a interesting point to bring people down to the downtown area and support our history. Okay, this was the Arch project. Our plans, which dated back quite a while ago, was to create this arch over Milford Road. And during the feasibility studies in 2021, and we were really getting into the nitty gritty of putting this thing up, it was discovered that there's a drain pipe under the road at the ideal location. And it just was not a good thing to do. So there was to put it somewhere else would be a disturbance probably. But we don't want to give up on the idea of that. So we're taking the artistic cues of this arch design, which, by the way, was suggested by a volunteer and then a board member, and create monument sign or signs, like a structure type thing. Could be bordering the historic core as you come in and as you leave. And we're going to, in 2022, study those designs of creating the wayfinding signs and those monument signs. Economic vitality, well, it says it all. It's all about the businesses. This is where we get in the nitty gritty of supporting those businesses. So we at the DDA, we are the Oakland County liaison to the businesses, providing grant and education information that is available. The DDA board also voted to earmark $20,000 to fund the COVID-19 business information grant to our DDA district businesses. 15 businesses applied for this grant. 13 businesses were awarded varying amounts. The only reason the other 2 were not awarded was they were not located in the DDA district. And the next slide is this, a nice piece that Cassie put together. These are the businesses in the district who received a grant. So we couldn't get a picture of all of them, but you can see who those are. So we also do things to bring businesses or bring people to the downtown to support our businesses. Summer sidewalk sales in July in 2021, and we'll do this again in 2022. Various businesses participated. You can see in the paper. I know it's hard to read, but the business that supported, and this is very well accepted. We also have little things going on, like a sidewalk chalk contest, if people would like to participate during our farmers market on Saturday, which is part of this big sale. Also, again, this is a placemaking and support our businesses event. It was a scavenger hunt, and there were 8 hidden painted bricks, and they were books like the Hungry Caterpillar or the Big Red Dog, and they were hidden in different spots. And people would have to go around and find those hidden things. And again, you can see I'm pointing, you can't see that, but you can see the businesses that we were focusing, to bring people down. You can see the farmers market, get people down there. I think those were the hints to maybe where to look for them. Tried to get a picture, but I couldn't get a good picture of them. Shop Small Saturday, you hear about this on the radio. This is another thing that we're very active with. And this is our business owners from Maher Feed and Pet Supply, also known as Highland Feed. So again, several businesses participated in this promotion. And we, the DDA, promoted it in the local papers and on social media. Banner signs were also posted around town in prominent locations. Oh, this partnering with other organizations. Okay, so this is there's an organization out there called nonprofit called the Unity Project. And the DDA suggested that we have Unity Dollars, which is a Downtown Dollars program. So last year, in 2020, but it rolled over into early 2021, the DDA sponsored $2,500 towards the Unity Dollar certificates. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. Again, this is any business who wishes to participate signs up with us. And people can buy these $10 certificates at $5 value. The DDA backs the other 5. And what we were finding, we kept track of this. The businesses had to fill out a form saying that, okay, for instance, I got an example down here. A person came in and used 2 $10 certificates, 20. But it leveraged a $51 sale. So like 2.5 we found was the average that brought to our businesses. This just happened last Tuesday night, and it's a ladies' night out. And we have shuttles, all the businesses that participate do retail specials, food and snacks. We do gift bag drawings. give away swag bags. That's the ladies, everybody really likes this. It's a fun evening. And again, we promote this in the paper. So all these people are getting promoted by the DDA in the paper. So placemaking and promotions. Again, this is bring people down to our town, establish a place. We partnered once again with the HVCA. I'm sure you've seen the reproductions of local artists throughout our downtown. And right at the corner of Milford and Livingston, there is a sculpture. And this is another program that people seem to enjoy and ask for it to return. In our summer concert series, this is very popular. We had to let it go the year of COVID, and we had a great attendance in 2021. For rain backup day, we did use the fire department. That's getting a lot of use lately. And in the next slide, you will see that the projected rain date didn't quite happen. It was raining when we started and cleared up. And those are the people enjoying the concert. This is all free to the public. Farmers market. This not only brings healthy food to our residents, but it gives some small business owners and our farmers the opportunity to come and sell their goods. We had Monarch Butterfly Day, which kind of even ties into Chill at the Mill. Part of this as well, placemaking and promotions at the market. We had a trick or treat day. So we have different themes going throughout. Well, this is coming up fairly soon. Well, right now, the Highland Tree, this says Highland Tree Lighting. This is actually the Festival of the Trees. A little bit of a typo there, I apologize. And I think once again, all the trees have been sold. We will have a, this is our beautiful Veterans Park with the tree, the station house in the background, and our lighted tunnel. There's one of our youths in the lighted tunnel. We also have photo spots throughout our downtown, which that's one of the photo spots. Right here are the train at Gateway Park. And there's a family you can see peeking around through getting their picture taken. Before we move on to future plans, I will say there is a tree lighting that will be, I skipped that slide somehow, taking place this year, which Rick mentioned. No, you didn't skip it. I skipped it, Rick. I didn't slip it in there. I apologize for that. That, as Rick said, will be December 13th. This year, it's a little different format. We have the fire station where all the sheds, Rick's sitting in one of those sheds right now, decorated with lights. And Santa's going to be sitting in the back. And they're all, like I said, decorated with lights. And the kids, after their sing-along and they're going to lead song, will walk through the lighted village of Highland. Now you can move on. Future plans of 2022. Well, we're going to continue the events that you've seen and we've talked about earlier in this presentation. We do Founders Day Parade. In 2021, it was the virus was starting to go crazy. We did a virtual. A summer concert series, farmers market, downtown contests, and of course our annual tree lighting. This should be 2022. We will reintroduce the facade sign grant program for our businesses to see some of the needed repairs that are needed and help our business owners make their place shine. We are still hoping for the historic window restoration workshop. It was canceled both years because of the virus. Gateway monument signs and the research of the wayfinding signs will happen in 2022. We're going to continue those banner programs. We're going to work with our businesses along the streetscape to create a uniformity and a wow factor. One of the ideas was to have matching planners of whatever color that might be going through our downtown. And of course, here again is to begin our gateway signage wayfinding. Our economic for 2022, we'll continue meeting with our retailers either in person or Zoom. We meet with them once a year in the beginning and talk to them. What do you want to do for retail? Are you happy with what we're doing? Do you have any other suggestions? Would you like to try something different? Continue our retail sales events. We offer educational classes to our businesses. For example, currently we have Zing train classes that are happening currently, and these are of many subjects that any business should be able to utilize. We were also, Highland DDA and Highland Township was asked by Oakland County to be a partner, they call it a spoke, of the Small Business Navigator program. And this is where businesses can come. It'll be located in our district, but businesses in an area of Highland, even Rose Township, can come and get some assistance with their businesses. Organization. This is the committee. It's kind of like the human resources of it, personnel, keep things running smoothly and manage things and elect the volunteers. And I don't think I forgot anything else. I apologize for a little bit of the oversight on some typos. Take care of that for the next one. Do you have anything to add, Rick?
I think that maybe people don't know what this Zing train is. Zing train, I believe, is Zingerman's out of Ann Arbor.
That's right.
They have classes that they use to help people in developing business and programs and so on and so forth. Highly successful business. If you're not familiar with Zingerman's, they're actually known worldwide for their training programs that they do as well as having a really cool place to. They have a restaurant. They also have the what do you call it? Where you can get cheese and meats and sandwiches and so on and so forth. A deli in Ann Arbor that's famous worldwide as well. So that's it. Thank you, Missy.
You're welcome. And those classes are currently going on for our small businesses, and they vary everything from from retail to how to keep your employees and address the strategy of hiring new employees right now. So, and that'll roll over into 2022. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
Missy?
All right. Well,
Pardon?
Missy, can I say something?
yes.
Of course you can.
That was a very great presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Did everything, not everything, but most of the things the DDA does. And I think you guys have done an amazing job decorating for Christmas. I love the tunnel and the Christmas trees and Milford Road. And you guys just keep improving on that. And the flowers, after you got complaints, you guys changed it. And it looked really great this year. And I think you guys will probably have some other ideas for next year. But
right.
I mean, anytime you have something, you guys always improve it. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thanks for helping us out, Jenny. She's a strong volunteer.
No problem.
Word. Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments they'd like to make? All right, thank you. I think that's it's a good thing. Not a lot of people understand what the DDA's purpose is and what we do, what the DDA has accomplished. And by the state actually requiring this to happen, it was a good thing because it brings forward into the public eye what the DDA does do. So
I'd also like to mention our website, highlanddda.com, and check it out. We have our work plans posted out there and all kinds of good stuff.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next item. It's the Six Rivers Land Conservancy Agreement. This is a pending business. The next steps in trying to accomplish closure on the approximately 60 acres of land on Hickory Ridge Road owned by the Robinson family requires us, if everybody remembers back, that we were offered an opportunity to work through the Six Rivers Land Conservancy. And they were generous enough to figure out how to come up with the resources to purchase the property outright from the Robinson family, and then work an agreement with us so that we could move towards legally being able to apply for Michigan National Resource Trust Fund grant to pay for eventually pay for most of the property and help us with developing the Southwest Quadrant Park there. I'll make a motion. This is something that's taken a little bit of time because the attorneys had to get involved, of course, dot the i's, cross the t's, and so on and so forth. So they've been working back and forth. And what is in your packet is the acquisition agreement that was finally hammered out by the attorneys, and it right up to the last minute here. So I'm going to make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the acquisition agreement between Six Rivers Land Conservancy and the Charter Township of Highland.
Cooper support.
Okay, that's supported. And now any discussion. So the board members, you received a letter from the attorney describing some of the stuff that is involved. And the letter, most people don't realize how much is involved in making this happen. And Lisa, our attorney, Hamame, I think got a real education here, right, Lisa? So this is some new stuff for her, but she went through the entire grant process to understand what we were going to be required to handle. And unfortunately, Jennifer is very familiar with this process and was successful in getting us the grant to purchase the property from Highland Tree Farm to add to the Hickory Ridge Park. So we do know what we need to do. And the difference in this one is the acquisition of the property. The township cannot, quote, buy the land and own the land prior to the request for the grant. So this is a way to accomplish that. So this agreement, acquisition agreement, is an agreement that points to the future. So if you were to look at it, it pushes it out to 2023. And so we're in the meantime going to be pushing to go after the MNRTF grant, which has to be in the process by April 1st of 2022. So there's a bunch of homework to do between now and February to make sure that we get things into our park plan and so on and so forth. If you read at least I have to give you, compliment you. What you did is you made a very good path. I mean, it's a path that's easy to follow. It looks complicated, but in reality, what it does is it makes it very clear. Very good job of taking that and condensing it down into the avenue that we have to pay attention to. So that's what this is all about. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes.
Yes, just have a quick question. After we apply for the grant, does Lisa know about what the time frame is before we'll find out if we get it or not?
Actually, I don't know if Lisa does, but Jennifer sure knows. It is not a quick response thing. This,
It's not a quick response.
They say 9 months to a year.
Yes, so if you apply in April, by January, because they have to approve it legislatively. So it's around January that you would know for sure. They give you a little heads up and then they work with you in case you're missing things, but it's January the next year, yes.
and if COVID continues, it won't be a fast process. It'll even be slower. So people who would have applied during 2021 probably have been through nightmares wondering what's happening. So, but it's a process that could possibly be pushed even further. That's why 2023, if you don't accomplish it in the first round, you have the opportunity to apply again. And, you can learn from things in that scenario that can help you to be more readily sure to get it. There's no guarantee. And that was something that I pointed out from the very get-go, that there was no guarantee. And the idea is that we put up the 2 parcels of property for sale to help fund the purchase of that property. So it'll add some cost to it. But at that point, if it doesn't go through, then we still have the opportunity to sell it as well. So I think the smart thing is if we can maintain that open space for the long term, for the future, it'll benefit everybody in Highland. It'll help us to keep that open space feeling that Highland has, and it'll also allow us to have some more space in the future for additional recreation activities for our local residents. So that's my ramble.
Thank you.
Lisa, did you have anything you'd like to throw in there?
No, I think you did a good job, and the attorney-client privileged communication that I forwarded to the board was what I really wanted to convey. Unless somebody has any questions, I think you did a great job summarizing everything.
Well, thank you. I know I threw something on your plate that I think was more than a meal. So thanks for attacking it. I think you did a great job. I mean, it's really a testimony that you are tuned in to protecting our community, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right. If there's no additional comments, I'll ask for a vote on that.
All right. Okay, Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe is present in Highland now, and he votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Mr. Hamill, yes. I'll add a little caveat to all this. The whole process kind of goes forward, backward, and forward again. Six Rivers can't move forward with the Robinsons until they know that we are going to agree to pay down the road to live up to our end of the agreement. So that's what we're doing right now. And then they take this, and that's the assurance that they can go to Robinsons, and then they have to go through their due diligence with Robinsons to purchase that. So it kind of bounces around the table, and the whole idea is to try and have this happen by December 31st. And I think we'll be good. Some of the due diligence is to get a phase 1 investigation for any kind of pollutants and stuff. But there is, if you looked at your confidential letter from the attorney, there is in the whole process an avenue for parcels that may have contaminations, and that's only, I don't foresee any of that on this property, but there are contaminated properties out there that they will still agree to purchase and allow to receive the grants, as long as you can show that what you're going to do with that property doesn't increase or principally alter the land in a way that could either expose the toxins or accelerate their distribution or something. So there's pretty well covered. I mean, they're looking at trying to make sure that a small amount of contamination of certain kinds is not going to destroy the opportunities. So, all right, that's it. I thank everybody for that. And now we'll have to sit and wait for the next round, and we'll be getting moving forward here to come up with a game plan for the grant. So,
Supervisor Hamel,
yes, ma'am.
before we move on to new business, I think I missed public comment, which under the consent agenda, the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority insurance renewal, I had questions and I did not ask them. I don't know which is the new. Is it the highlighted or the?
Is Amy on board or not?
She's not.
Tammy, do you know what happened on that? That the documentation that got put in our package is kind of a little bit on the weird side.
So the highlighted parts are the new additions or changes.
That's what I assumed, but wasn't 100% sure. So,
And that's starting in 2022.
Right, January 1.
Okay. Because on it had pollutants, and I just didn't know if the annex, if we could just try to go for in 2021, did it have this? It didn't have the same thing for the mold. Like, why didn't we try to do like an insurance claim?
I don't know. I can look into that tomorrow.
Okay. So the new are the highlighted. Perfect.
yeah, and
Well, I
I
needed
would
to
note Serve Pro took a lot longer than they anticipated, but what they agreed to do was to stick with their original quote. I mean, they spent 3 more weeks than they had thought it was going to take. And the only thing that we would change is to pay for an additional dumpster. So Serve Pro did that because we've had a good working relationship with them on other projects, and they want to maintain that relationship. And I thought that was pretty stellar of them to do that. So I just wanted to make a note of that. That project was pretty much a nightmare. I don't know. In the basement were a lot of cabinets or bookcases that came out of the upstairs that were for the library, and they were all wood cabinets. All of those had to be sawn up and destroyed. And so then there was just a ton of stuff in there. Two full dumpsters of things that had to be taken out of that basement. So in the future, we're going to have to refrain from storing things in there. And it just is too open for potential flooding. I believe I got the flooding solved. I don't know if I explained that in the past, but the flooding occurred when we had like a 5-inch rainstorm that filled up the catch basin in the parking lot. Well, it kept filling up and filling up. We had a 5-inch rain, and we had 2 inches, 3 inches, and it got close to the door a couple of times. And so what I did is I had a company come out with a vacuum truck to vacuum out the catch basin. And it turns out that sometime in the fairly distant past, whenever that got asphalted, went from dirt to asphalt, they put in that catch basin, and they threw a bunch of asphalt in the bottom of it. I don't know how it got there, but that asphalt solidified and pretty much sealed the catch basin, so it didn't allow it to work. So all it did is, it's several thousand gallons capacity, and all it did is just fill up and overflow. So the company that did the vacuum work went in there with a water jet. They cut out the asphalt, sucked it all out, and got it back down to the gravel base. So that's been corrected, and we haven't had any issues since. So we'll cross our fingers. And then they're going to have to do some work on the window wells that, great design feature where you put a big giant window in a basement. You got a window well that's nothing more than a water hole. So the locust tree was hitting on the roof of the building, filling up the gutters. The gutters were overflowing, going down into the window wells. Window wells were leaking. So I got the trees been pruned. The gutters are clean. Now we're going to have to, in the springtime, work on digging out the window wells and getting those back to where they can drain again. So can't take a chance of putting any more stuff in the basement to have the mold. The building's too valuable to lose it, so. But it's been sanitized inside and out in terms of the basement and the furnaces and ducts and everything else, so we're back in business. Right? Jenny, did you have anything else you wanted to ask, or is that it?
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Next item, new business, 10A. This is strictly an introduction to zoning amendment Z-024 to rezone parcel 1134-326-002. It's a vacant parcel from the current zoning of OS, Office Service District, to RM, Multiple Family Residential District, with offer of conditions to restrict development to 2 single-family detached homes. Applicant and property owner is 2675 Highland Holdings LLC. That is a parcel of property that is due south of where the Tuffy Muffler Shop is. And so what they're going to do is they're going to divide that into 2 parcels and build 2 homes there that will butt right up to the existing subdivision. So as you pull in the road there by the dentist's office, which is on the southwest east corner, and between Tuffy Muffler, it'll just extend the subdivision towards Milford Road. I don't think do we need to do anything else besides introduce?
You
Beth?
need to make a motion to introduce it.
Okay. So that's a motion to introduce it.
Okay.
Support Salvia.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
All right, Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, the next item is the 2022 Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal. There is a increase of a little over 9%, but that's pretty much relative to everything in the healthcare business, especially since the COVID stuff has hit. And the other things that come up is that we've been working with Burnham and Flowers, who handle our healthcare. Now they do work with other companies besides Blue Cross Blue Shield, but every time you take everybody's healthcare and you throw it up in the air to try and save $1 or $2, you put everybody on our healthcare program into a different mix. And I know in the past, I think Judy, you had some doctors that you had to find new doctors because we changed their plans. And the increase in cost to take a chance on really being very disruptive, especially during this COVID crap, I think is not worth trying to, at this point, to throw Blue Cross under the bus and try and find somebody else. So my proposal was to stick with Blue Cross Blue Shield and renew that policy. And it has worked. It's worked very well for me. I have to admit that. And I've had 0 complaints that I've actually heard from anybody in the office. And I think everybody was actually kind of glad that they weren't going to be trying to rethink everything. So, and another thing that Burnham and Flowers does for us is we have a very low deductible for the employees. I think it's $250. Even though we have a $5,000, $10,000 deductible. And what happens is the township through the process helps fund that deductible. So there's a certain level that you try and attain that you don't go over. And that's how it fits within the budget. So it really works well for the individuals, and which I think is the right thing to do. And we get a good, everybody wins on that. So anybody want to make a motion to renew that?
I would move to renew the current health plan that we have with the increase as presented.
Support.
Support,
Now,
Louis.
Peachin.
Okay, moved and supported.
Can I say something?
Questions? Yeah.
I just want to say what you said, I totally agree with in terms of if it's working, even if there's, a little bit increase here, whatever. I mean, too many times we're trying to, everybody's trying to save, then you're not happy. And I think if it's working, especially healthcare right now, stick with what's got you there and what's working, because if not, you're going to be, you'll be miserable. Like I said, but Judy had issues with finding other doctors. It's a bummer if you love your doctor or like your doctor or whatever, or even just like them, whatever. But it's frustrating when you've got to start looking for other places. So I think it's I agree with you 100%. It's very important. Anybody in the community, has a problem with a little bit of increase here or there. I mean, it's different. It was an astronomical thing, but you got to stick with what got you there and what works. So
Agreed.
that's my 2 cents.
And we actually, when I first got into office a few years ago, we really looked hard at the healthcare, and
Yep.
this is where we ended up was with this $250 deductible, which is it's unheard of. I mean,
Yeah.
and we did that by kind of putting a hammer down on our on Burnham and Flowers. We had another company that offered something similar. Burnham and Flowers then stepped up to the plate and said, we can make this happen. So, and it's still cheaper than on a per unit basis than it was when I first got into office. So,
If you like it, stick with it.
yeah. So, all right. So any other comments or questions? All right, then we'll put this to a vote, please.
Okay, Mrs. Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, big yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, amen, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right, the next item is Oakland County 2022 to 2024 Law Enforcement Services Agreement with Highland Township. There was some anticipation from the sheriff's office that we were going to see major increases in that, and it actually turned out to be, let me find that. I'll read it to you.
213.
I think I can read it, maybe not. Why is it not moving here?
Page 213, if that helps.
Didn't help me. Well, anyways, what happens is the first year it's 1 point something percent increase, so on and so forth. All this technology is not helping me at all.
I have it if you want me to read it, Rick.
Oh, here we go. I found a page. So this is a letter from Sheriff Bouchard. And he says, we're pleased to inform you that the rates will only increase an average of 1.82% for 2022, 2.7% for 2023, and 2.78% for 2024. It says the deputies will likely be receiving salary increases. However, the amount is unknown at this time, as Oakland County Deputy Sheriff's Association and Command Officers Association are still in labor negotiations. So we're not going to see a change there. They're going to work on that. There are new items that are factored into the rates that include, but are not limited to, indirect costs. Historically, these have not been charged, but body worn cameras, mobile phones, and increased liability insurance costs. And despite these items, the rate increase was mitigated by lower medical costs, the county's efficient management of fringe benefits, which are lower in the new agreement and largely offset the cost of the new initiatives. So it's really excellent that to continue working with Oakland County. I mean, I look at the communities that have their own police departments, and they're a perfect example is when we had the nightmare up in Oxford there occurred with the shootings at the school. We sent personnel there. if we were a city or a community run police department, we would be short people if they were requested to send. We were never short anybody at any point in time. So we're never short on our officers. We're never short on vehicles. We're never short on the best equipment. And they come in way under the cost of the local, like Milford and White Lake, and their costs are way beyond. So it's a great deal either way. And we also have the pleasure of having a great head man here, Mr. Snyder, Lieutenant Snyder.
Thank you, Lieutenant Snyder. Well done.
Does a great job with these guys, and there's a lot of turnover, but that's the way it works in that program. But we've got some guys that have been here quite a while, and they do a great job, and really appreciate them. So
I want to say something real quick. And I've said this before, real quick. Matt, you guys do a great job. And before I actually got elected, I just assumed every community had a sheriff's department. I didn't know. I thought we had one, so I thought everybody must have it. I didn't know how it worked as a regular citizen. And either Rick educated me or I figured it out really quick, because he used to educate me a lot in the campaign trail about a lot of things. And I know how blessed we are to have what we have. And I had to do it. Anytime I call Matt, he's right there to answer my questions. He helped me the other night. I appreciate that. And he does a great job. And, the day we lose you, Matt, when you decide to become the sheriff or something and go to higher ground or whatever, we'll be struggling, I think, but you do a great job and your guys do a great job. And I think that's very important. But again, I bet a lot of people in the community probably doesn't even know how it works. Maybe they do, but it's not that it's anything bad about the community, but I just assumed everybody had it. Everybody had a substation and I didn't know it. I didn't know any better. Now I know all this, how lucky we are. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to tease you about your beard there for just a minute here. If anybody notices, I now have a full beard again. And the reason I did that is because somebody said I realized it myself. The glasses I have on, I bought.
Colonel.
And I went for lunch to Kentucky Fried Chicken after I got them. And I walked in the door and went, oh my God, I look like Colonel Sanders. So Matt, you are the new Colonel Sanders.
Well, they start making fish stick jokes about me.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, because it's all white. In November, we did the No Shave November. We have to pay $30 a month. The sheriff then takes that and donates it to some of our deputies that are going through cancer and their families are struggling. They extended it for December. And my guys started doing the Gordon the Fisherman jokes. And so I'm still debating if I'm shaving this off tomorrow. So.
Well, I grew my beard on September 4th, which was the fireworks. I was passing out those glow sticks. And this lady goes, oh my God, you look just like Colonel Sanders. And I went, that's it. I'm done with that. So.
Anybody want a drumstick?
Here's a drumstick. So, okay. So we'll, I think we have to vote on this, right? Did we make a motion or did we not make a motion?
We don't have a motion yet.
Okay. I'll make the motion that we approve the Oakland County 2022-2024 Law Enforcement Services Agreement with Highland Township.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
All right, Mr. Howe,
Mr. Hall votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next item, there's a memorandum. We were going to do this in 2020, but the COVID thing kind of jumped in our way, and this is to move a position, an individual who is working part-time. So we're proposing to increase the rate for the full-time activities coordinator. Going to put the individual into full-time, increase the hours of the activity center communications coordinator from 25 to 29. The new activities coordinator, which is Sherry, she's been working for us for some time here, will be put at $16.50 an hour. And then the communication coordinator rate will stay at $15.30 an hour. And all these changes were already incorporated into the 2022 budget that we approved. So the monies are there. And so I'd like to make the motion to promote the activity center's activities coordinator to full-time with an increase to $16.50 an hour, and to increase the hours of the activity center communication coordinator to 29 hours per week, and all changes to begin on January 1, 2022.
Support, Lewis.
Go ahead, Beth, you have it.
Moved and supported. Anybody have any discussion or questions?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, then we'll vote, please.
All right, Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. Next item is hazardous waste day for 2022. Historically, we've done this every 18 to 24 months, and they've been wildly successful in that this stuff doesn't end up on the back roads and in the drains and everything else. And this is, everybody seems to have plenty of toxic chemicals and stuff hanging around. But the problem is it keeps increasing in cost. I guess that is a problem, but it's not a problem. I think the key is that if we're going to do it if you looked at the memorandum in 2020, our total cost was $60,480. Now that is funded through the refuse fund. And based on the number of pounds that they collected in 2020, and using the 2022 pricing, that same event would cost about $85,000 and some change. So that's about a $15,000 increase. I think it's worth every penny of that to the constituents to fund it through the refuse plan. I mean, it is refuse, but we can't really give the total cost to it yet because we don't know how much people saved up because of the 2021 we didn't do it. So there's going to be a lot of people that clean out during this COVID stuff that cleaned up a lot of things. So who knows what's sitting there waiting to get distributed. So I guess I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead with the 2022 June 18th proposed date for hazardous waste pickup, and we're going to have to do it based on a guess that it might be $85,000. It could be more. There's money in there is money available to cover that cost, but moving forward, we're going to have to address probably the cost of the annual pickup for trash. It wouldn't be hundreds of dollars. It would be probably a couple of bucks or something per household, but we'd have to do the math on that. So
I second the motion, Frederick.
So do we have any questions? Anybody have any questions on that? I think
It's an important thing. It's very important.
It is.
Don't let stuff laying around somewhere get dumped in the ground.
yeah.
It is, and our refuse costs are still less than they were probably 25 to 30 years ago.
Yep. Which is, I don't
It's
get how they do
nuts.
it.
They do a fabulous job.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, so we'll have a vote, please.
Okay. Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
All votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right, great. It's interesting to work that thing. It's quite a
It's fun.
quite a grueling day, to be honest with you. But Joe was, I think you were quite amazed at the last time you were involved in it and how those guys worked.
Yeah, they were very efficient, very cordial, did a great job. They were very cautious and all the work that they did.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to the next item. It's item F, Resolution 21-22, American Aggregates of Michigan, Inc., application for early termination of farmland development rights agreement. I'll have Beth come on in a minute here, if she's still here. And if we remember back a ways, we had agreed to allow American Aggregates to, they wanted to purchase an additional, I think it was 85 acres and of land and to be able to mine that as well. But one of the roadblocks is that there's a restriction on mining because of farmland development rights agreement that were done with the Giggler family that owned the property. And so what has to happen is those, in order to mine the aggregates, there has to be a termination of those rights and agreement. And this is kind of, this is where this goes. So Beth, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Just so you understand a little bit clearer, this has nothing to do with property tax benefits that were gained, and you're relinquishing the, or agreeing to relinquish the agreement means that the state would be compensated for the income tax credit that they offered the Gigglers in the last 7 years. The property is already taxed as industrial development property. If you don't relinquish it now, it just means that Levy would have to ride out the rest of the agreement. But we've already agreed in the consent agenda and the other mining permit that we were going to allow this to be mined. It's just a matter of expediting it now, recognizing there is a public benefit to letting the mining proceed and that it's not going to have a negative impact on farming in our community.
All right. So I guess,
I make a motion,
please.
move to adopt resolution 21-22, approving the application for early termination of the farmland development rights agreement for American Aggregates. Parcel number 1106-200-002, and directing the clerk to forward certified copies of the application to the Michigan Department of Agricultural and Rural Development.
Cooper, support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion on that? All right, then we'll move forward with a vote, please.
All right. Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. The next item.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's been a long time. Working on that. That's Steve on there, is it?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. And have happy holidays and pass that along to the rest of the folks there at the organization. We appreciate what you've done for Highland too. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Happy holidays to all of you.
Yep. All right, next item, I'll do the speed motion stuff here so we can move through these. I'm gonna make the motion to approve the resolution 21-23 to approve bank depositories for 2022 as listed.
Cooper
Support, Sylvia.
Okay, moved and supported.
guess-
Any questions?
Take your pick.
I
Yeah,
withdraw my support.
I was to say, it doesn't matter to me.
All right, so it's been supported by Judy Cooper, and discussion. All right, then we'll vote.
okay. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Brown votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right, the next item, I'll do that in the form of a motion to get it started. I'd like to move to approve resolution 21-24, approving opting in to the national opioid litigation settlement.
For support.
Okay, so discussion, I'll kind of explain what this is. Our attorney brought this to my attention, and I wasn't completely aware of it at the time. And there is litigation out there that can allocate some funds and that through lawsuits that are levied against some of the producers and people involved in the opioid serious issue that we've had. So what it does is it opens up, I think the Michigan Attorney General has estimated the state of Michigan may receive close to $800 million. So the settlement indicates it will be allocated 15% to a state fund, 72% to an abatement fund, and 15% to the participating subdivisions. So our municipality is listed in the distributor settlement as receiving an allocation. So whatever we receive has to be used for something that would be a positive benefit from the lawsuit, meaning that it should be used to, I believe, for probably be reallocated to the police and fire for their involvement in having to deal with this opioid crisis. You know, when people go into their overdose and paying for these Narcan kits and just general cost overall, you know, our ambulance service going out, the police going out. So I think it's a smart thing to definitely opt into this. And I think the smartest thing is to definitely give it to those departments that are first responders to this. So
Agree to that.
all right. So any other questions on that?
Supervisor Hamel?
Yes.
Yeah, my question was going to be on what is opioid remediation, but you think it's sharing it with the police and fire when they go on certain cases?
Yeah, I don't know that what other remediation you can have, you know, I mean.
Like classes, I don't know if you have classes or treatment.
Specifies for training. Go ahead, Lisa has her hand raised.
Yes, Lisa.
Yeah, there's a whole list of permissible expenditures for local government, but specifically they state examples such as providing expanded training for first responders, schools, community groups, and families on the use of naloxone or other FDA-approved drug to reverse overdoses.
Right. So, and I think also the, pardon me for forgetting the name of it, but the Huron Valley Coalition could very well do some of that too. And they live off of grants, and they do they work so hard to you know, to be a positive influence on the youth in our community too. So we will look at that very closely to make sure that that's distributed in the most positive way to get the most benefit out of it. So and we can have another discussion moving forward. The money's not here yet or there yet. So when if and when it comes, then we'll put together a little brain trust to figure out where we think it should go and how to distribute it.
Perfect.
Right. So vote on that, please.
All right, Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item, I, budget amendment, fire payroll. Tammy, I'm gonna let you take over on
Sure.
these next
We
two.
were looking at the financials coming up on the end of the year, and this is our last opportunity to make any adjustments to the budget. If there were any items that were close, and it looked like fire operating fund is riding pretty close to their budget, and if it so happens that there's a couple of fires or a big fire or some serious, drains on their manpower this coming month, and that could push them over, and we don't want to get in a situation where the auditors would feel that we had under budgeted. So this just is a safety thing to make sure that they're good for getting through the end of the year with the existing budget
Right, I think they're at 91% of their budget right now.
for payroll. Yeah.
Payroll. So
Other line items are
good.
slightly under. So it may be that they could slide through, but I didn't want to take any chances.
It's better safe than sorry. So I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment for fire fund for fire payroll.
Cooper, support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, so vote please.
Right. Mr. Howe,
Howell votes yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right, the next item is budget amendment for fire capital. Tammy, I'll let you take that one as well.
Okay, and we were kind of looking at the project lines on the fire capital, and they actually are moving faster on Station 2 than they had originally thought. And we were trying to balance out, how much needed to be budgeted this year and next year. So we wanted to give them some more room to cover their speedy work in this year. And hopefully that'll be done by early next year.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment for fire capital.
Lewis, support.
Sorry, Beth can have it.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Beth.
Okay, any discussion on that? Anybody have any questions? I understand what our bookkeeping is attempting to do there, so. All right, vote please.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howell votes yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right, so that's it for the business activity. And just before we adjourn here, I'd kind of like to bring everybody up to speed on the township activities and what's going on. Community sharing, or as most know, I've been working over on that project to try and get their land balancing done and so on and so forth. And I finished up installing their septic field. So their septic's in, the building pad for where they're going to construct the building is all in and compacted. The parking lot is got its first base of ground asphalt, which came from the Township project. So we're dual purposing things. So K&K Construction was able to grind up that parking lot for us, haul it over there, and spread and compact it. So it's been a really good team effort. And I was sent an email from David Bell that showed where their budget was. Their budget for what part of the project that I was looking at was about 175,000, and today the cost is at 68,000. So you can see what by manipulating soils and help from other people in that, we saved at this point with what we've billed is $113,000. So there's still some more expenditures, but it'll be around 100 grand by the involvement that myself and K&K helping out over there. So I think that's a good thing to help them move forward. And then the construction at the playground, we should have that finished up by June. I'd like to, at the end of June, have near that time have a opening celebration for the playground. Make that a commitment so that that supervisor guy who's managing it gets his butt in gear. The township
Mention no names.
the township office is going amazingly fast. I mean, I'm totally amazed. The block layers are doing an astounding job. As some people know and some don't know, the original intent was to try and use some of the walls with the understanding if you're using the walls, that means the foundations must be good. It turned out the foundations were great, but the walls were abysmal. The floors were abysmal. I mean, there's floors in there that were only 2 inches thick. So what we made the decision to do was knock it all down and build new. That was an additional cost of which I already knew in advance, of about $95,000. But that cost is covered by the fact that we're able to modify the septic system to save us about $100,000. So it's a net zero. And in reality, we end up with all new walls. And that means the insulation, everything from the start is going to be top of the line. And I have to say that our Summit company, they are spectacular to work with. I mean, they just, they're on top of everything. Their eyeballs are on everything. There's actually a camera that's 24/7 mounted on a pole by the, not the bank, but the, whatever you call it there.
Building site.
Yeah, by the credit union, by the credit union, it faces the site. So they can watch it on the internet. All of the contractors have just done a spectacular job. I mean, from tearing the building down, they were cleaned up every day. It's just been a spotless scenario. They've been driving the Sheriff's Department's been getting, they're the first ones to get the activity on the building. We got a new roof on that already. We're waiting for the metal to come in to finish that off and then doing the outside skin to match. And it's all attached by these metal strips that hold on the plywood and the styrofoam that's underneath it for insulation. And Matt might be able to tell you exactly how many tens of thousands of impact nails have been pounded into that building. So if you can imagine what they call these ram sets, which are like an explosive charge that drive nails into concrete, if you can imagine that going on day after day after day, and you're on the inside of that building, it's, I think
when you have a conversation, or it's always when you're on the phone. And they don't pick one side of a building, they do all around the building at the same time. So it's been interesting. But yeah, they have been great. Mark, who is on site, you can pick up the phone and he's there for a problem. We did have a roof leak over Thanksgiving. I came in Friday after Thanksgiving, called Mark, who was in Livonia, dropped everything he did, came out here and assessed it and got that taken care of. So, you know, to reiterate what Rick said, they've been really good to work with.
So,
I have a comment.
yes,
When we did the veterans ceremony, I don't know if I told you or not, but all the workmen that were around the site stopped what they were doing and paid attention to the ceremony. I thought that was very, very wonderful of them to do that.
they're even on the roof.
On the roof, they stopped. And they didn't start till it was all over. So I went over to thank them for that. And one more thing, Matt, you all remember Dawson Ennis, who was the Eagle Scout that took care of our flags? And he went into the Marine Corps. He is out of the Marine Corps now, and he had an injury or something. But Matt, he's looking for a job in law enforcement, and I'd like to connect with you to see what we can do to help him.
Yeah, send them my way and I'll take care of it.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
You got
Dawson is an excellent individual. Another thing is that we had the ladies' night out thing that Missy had talked about. Because the annex building wasn't, available because of the mold issue. We were able to keep the ladies' night out program going, and they held it in the Township Hall here, which is the former fire hall. And that's when we did all the Christmas lighting on the buildings. And from all conversation, that went very well. So we've been multi-purposing this building, and once again, the people that come in here just think this is the coolest thing. And it's cool for a while. I don't think I'd want to do it for the rest of our life, but it's a great thing, and it's worked out extremely well for everybody. So anybody have any questions on what else is going on in the community? And I don't know,
I just want to say to Rick, as always, good job in helping everything that you do with your skill sets and the amount of money that you save this township. I mean, year in and year out, with the stuff that you do. And I remember when going over there to watch and move dirt that one day for a while, and a kid in the candy store, you were having a good time, but the amount of money you saved by doing it. So I think it was very important. So just, as always, good job. And I miss Mary Pat's Christmas bread or whatever she used to give us. So we need to bring Mary Pat back just for an honorary one day. She gave us the stuff on the last day. So
yeah, her banana bread. So I think that one of the things that I'm proud of is the people that we have working for this township. Every day when I go through here and I see how they handle the people that come into our building, it's just stellar. I mean, if somebody has a problem with what's going on here, it's got to be their own problem, because it's not coming from the individuals in this building. They're doing a great job. They treat everybody just spectacularly, and I just can't say enough about it. Great group of employees all the way around. Sheriffs, the fire, everybody. They just make this community the cool community that it is. So another year has blown by, and this is
one last comment. I'd like to thank Walt Zopp for staying on the phone. Walt's still with us. Thank you, Walt.
Those two go way back. So
no problem. It's all been interesting. I appreciate the opportunity to listen in. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt. All right. So anybody else have anything you'd like to say? Judy?
I do. While we're giving kudos, I'd like to thank Brian and all of the teachers, and your job is very hard. And you're doing a great job. And thanks. Taking care of our kids.
Well, thank you.
I'd like to second that.
Just plugging along, doing my job.
It's amazing.
Okay, so we'll vote on that too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
4-3.
We have some good people here. Yep.
All right, guys. You have some great holiday, both Christmas and New Year's, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again in 2022, which is hard to believe. As everybody's parents have always told them, time flies the older you get. It is a fact. So,
Sure is.
Question. So will our first meeting in January be live?
yes, it will.
So will it be at the Fire Station 1?
The new Fire Station 1.
Really? All right.
Yep.
Yay.
So
Is that the third?
we're going to
Third?
I think so.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're going to I'm going to attempt to have it Zoom as well. I can't guarantee how that's going to work out. We tried it earlier in way back in 2020 and it kind of worked, but it so I'm going to have to refresh myself how I made it happen. But so we'll see everybody in the new year, and thank you all for a stellar year here in Highland Township.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas,
happy
happy
New Year.
holidays.
Happy New Year.
And we don't give Lisa enough credit. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Later.